Good day everyone, GarageKing here, and we have a great episode for you. We're going to show you how to change the front brake pads on a 2012 Nissan Pathfinder. Now this is a big vehicle, but I got my quick jacks. They're only rated to 5,000 pounds, but I believe it should lift this vehicle, so we're going to try. This episode is going to be a little bit different in the sense that this is one of my buddy's cars, and you know what, I'm a little bit concerned that he doesn't care about the quality of his tires. They are worn right out, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant just to explain how dangerous driving a vehicle with tires like this is. Now, I'm not going to throw him under the bus publicly and let you know exactly who he is, but let's call him FA. We'll just use his initials, FA, and we're going to talk about FA's tires. So let's pull these wheels off and just see what condition his tires are actually in. Okay, so let's take a close look at these tires. There you can see the wear bars there. I touched with my fingers, so it's discolored a bit, but you can see there's absolutely nothing there. This guy thinks he's a race car driver, but he's really not a race car driver. This is the kind of driver he is. He's going to crash if he keeps, driving with tires like this. Now, he may think that people are going to run to help him, but actually they're running away from him. That is the big deal, and here's how he might look if he does not change his tires. You can see him there. So that's enough of that. Let's get to the actual brake job itself. We're going to pull off the calipers now and take a look at the pads, and we should be just replacing the brake pads because the rotors look to be in pretty good shape. So here we go. So let's do them. Now pan over to this side. We can see we only really have 2 bolts to undo these calipers, so it's not that hard at all. These bolts should be a 14 mil, and then we'll put a wrench. If when we undo this, these turn, then we'll just put a wrench there to hold it. And we can pop off the caliper, push the pistons in, and hey, let's change the pads. And then we'll just grease the pins. That's all there is to this Nissan. I'm making it look too easy. So it is a 14 mil, so let's just undo these bolts. There's one. You can see how I'm turning it. Here's the pin moving. Let's see if we can get you a better angle of that. There we go. So you can see I'm taking out the bolt here and the pin actually moves. So what I meant was sometimes when you turn the bolt, you'll actually turn this pin at the same time, and that's when you got to use a wrench here and a wrench there or your impact gun just to take it off. But this one, it's free, so that's great. Let's take the other one off. And same thing, the other one is free, so that is great. Let's take our caliper off. We can just give her a nice wiggle. Give it a nice wiggle. Let's not call it a female. Just give it a nice wiggle, and there we go. Hate that sound. Sounded like something was wrong, but really it wasn't. It was just the steel rubbing the steel. So here we have our 2 pads. We can just pull our pads out like this. And actually, if we look, notice we have 1 spring here. What's missing? Well, I'll be. So we have 1 there and none there. So we actually have a missing spring. So we'll be sure to correct that when we put the new pads in. We'll be sure to put another spring in to make sure that it's got 2 springs. Then it'll wear better. This one seems to be maybe wearing a bit unevenly. It seems thicker up there, probably because it's pushing out. The spring is pushing out, and we have nothing to push the pads out. So they're dragging here and not as much there. The camera doesn't show it that well, but maybe when I take out the pad, let's have a look and we'll see. You can see, actually there you go. You can see it's thin and it slowly gets thicker up to the top. I know it's hard to see there. Let's get you in there a bit. Anyway, there you go, it's thicker. So anyway, let's take these pads out and get ourselves a new set of pads. So we're gonna take these out. You can just take them out by hand. The spring went flying anyway, it don't matter. And there we go, so we got our pads out. So I'll show you, there's the wear indicator. So we're almost there. We really didn't have much left. There's the wear indicator. So you can see there's almost nothing left on these brake pads. So definitely needed doing. So good on the person for bringing it in, being responsible. I wish I could say the same about the tires, but this person, obviously, I'm going to have to tell them they need new tires. Now because this is a higher end set of pads, it did come with new sliders. That's these things right here. So we can just take our screwdriver and we can pop the old ones out. They're actually not in too bad a shape. They're just more dirty, if anything. Make sure these are nice and clean. And then we'll put a new set in. So here's our piston. We're just gonna give our piston a little bit of good cleaning here. Let's clean it up. There we go. Now what we'll use is our caliper tool. Makes life a lot easier. What this tool does is it'll just ratchet and it'll just push the pistons back in. So that's what it does there. So we're gonna go like this. There we go, and we are just pushing the pistons back in. And that's it. I'll back it off. Let's take that out. All right, so now let's just give this a little wipe. This pin, we're just gonna take this pin out. Now when you pull the pin out, you don't wanna just yank it out because you can see the rubber stretching right there. Take a look. And it can actually, it can rip. So what you wanna do is just kind of pull down, break it free, give a little twist, and there you know, there you go, it's free. So now we can just take this out. And it's pretty well lubricated, but we'll wipe it off and we'll just put some fresh lubricant on there. It's always a good idea to do one pin at a time so you don't confuse them, because sometimes the top pin is a little bit different than the bottom pin, and if you get them wrong, you might have issues. So now I got a little bit of special just brake caliper lube. So here we go. Just like so. And now because you guys want to watch me, here you go. I'll paint some on here. There you go. Don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate it. My channel is very small, so it's very tough to get subscribers. I try to put out the best videos I can. If you have any suggestions, please leave those suggestions for me. I answer them all suggestions, all questions. So I really appreciate it if you guys would do that. Now, if you look here, you can see it's coming back out. Now what that means is we got a bunch in there, so we just kind of gotta squish it in and it'll come through. Now what happens if it doesn't, I may have to use a C-clamp just a bit, and what it'll do is it'll force the rest through, and this way we know we got full of lube in there. So we want that to be like that. But now before we push it through, let's just start on the bottom one. Let that one sit for a bit, make sure they're both clean. Here's the bottom one. Again, we're gonna twist, break the seal, just like so. Now we're gonna pull it out, just like so. We're gonna wipe it down. And you can see I've wiped it down. It's nice and clean. I'm gonna put just a wee bit in there. There we go. And now I'm going to paint on some lube here, just like so. Want to make sure we get it in all the grooves. There we go. And same thing, we're going to put it back in where it's supposed to go, and there we go, just like so. That one went in nice. I heard the air come out. The one up top still has a little bit of air in it, so we're gonna have to work that air out. That's this one right here. May even just, there we go, it's almost worked out. You can actually see there, it's pretty much not stretching. So you just kind of got to work it, sometimes twist it, and the lube will just go by. These are the new ones. So let's tilt the camera a bit so you can see what's going on here. Got my handy dandy anti-seize. Here we go, so I'm just gonna paint a little bit on the bottom piece. We can put this back in here, just like so. We're gonna push that in. There we go. That's for the new pads to sit down there, and we'll do the same one for the top. Don't goop it on too heavy, because if you do, it's gonna fly off and it's gonna hit the rotor. So you just wanna put enough on just to protect it, really. There we go. These are good, very good quality pads. I'm just gonna do a little bit of spray, just so they're a little bit sticky, and what that is just brake, stop, squeal. So I'm just gonna give them a little spray job. So what I'm doing now, just gonna take my brake pad here, gonna give it a little bit of anti-seize, Just like that, you can see. Ever so nice. It's like art class. So pretty. Okay, so now we're just gonna put them in just like so. And we should just, there we go, there's one, just like that. Now we're going to take our other one, same thing, just like so. Put a little bit of anti-seize on them. Now it's important to note for these, where the spring goes in, I'll show you. There's the hole on one side. So it's right, there we go, back up there and there. So each pad has these holes, and that's where those springs go. And you saw on the one side we're actually missing the spring. So something happened. Someone forgot to put it in, I guess, on the last brake job. Somehow, someone wasn't paying attention. They probably didn't watch my video on how to do brake. And there we go, just like so. There we go. And the pads are in. Yahoo! Now, what we're gonna do is we have to put our springs in and then just mount the caliper. Okay, we're back to this position now. We're just gonna put the springs in. I know it seems like I'm just going back and forth between these angles, but it's very important that you know. So, please pay attention. So here's the upper spring. Sometimes it pushes the pads out. It all depends how tight they are. And this one, it's going to push it out. You can see actually, maybe we're gonna hold it, hopefully, let's see. And then there we got our bottom spring in. So we wanna make sure that they are in correctly, just like so. There we go. Normally I wear gloves, but in this case, I just wanna make sure I have it. So there you go. You can see both top and bottom spring are in. And then what we have to do is just reposition the caliper on it, making sure that these springs don't catch the caliper so they actually go back down. So without putting on my gloves, and I apologize now because I'm gonna get dirty hands in front of you all, but let's just slide this on just like so. And there we go, I have it on. And then we're just gonna, there's one, and there we go. We are on. So I don't want this to, let's see here, I gotta go up here a bit. There's where my hand is. And what do I need here to hold it? Well, let me tell you, I need a bolt. So we're just gonna put the 114 mil bolt in. Just like so. And now I'm gonna get a wrench, and I always wrench them. I never put them together with the impact. I always wrench them together. So we got our 14 mil. Let's tighten these bolts up, and then we were all done. Front brake pads on Nissan Pathfinder, made it look too easy. Hope you got something out of this video. If you did, I would appreciate if you would consider subscribing. And now let's take a pan to the tools, and I can show you what I use to do this job. So there's the tools that I generally use. You don't even need this impact gun right there. Sorry, you can see my shadow. I know it's just the way the light's hitting me. That's just a 14 swivel. I was to take it off, but you don't really need it. All you need is a 14 mil on a ratchet, 2 little screwdrivers to take things apart, and then to just lube it up. That was a caliper spreader. If you don't have one of those, you can use a C-clamp. 21 mil socket to take it off. So that's pretty much it. So you really don't need a lot to do the brakes on a Nissan Pathfinder. If you like what you saw, you learned something, hopefully you'll subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Thank you.